We all know Australia's Next Top Model and Project Runway. Why do people join these programs? Because they want to be seen. Supermodel Me lets real people share their fashion sense and favourite brands with the world and their peers. Think Instagram meets Pinterest for amateur fashionistas. I'll show you how it works. Right? This particular, very amateur fashionista. Thanks, Annetta. You take your iPhone or your Android phone and you take a photograph of yourself. You flag the brands that you're wearing at the moment, and you press a button and upload it to Supermodel Me, where the rest of the world can see it. I'll talk you through the process. Come here, we log in. We can see me there, in the middle of it. Yay! You browse through the site. You're inspired by the people wearing the brands and the clothes that you're interested in. You zoom in on a particular image, and when you see something that you like here we've got Zara, this particular lady's wearing Zara, you press on the Zara sponsored photo, and that redirects you to the Zara site where Supermodel Me picks up a commission. The competition. At the moment, there's the competition that we're facing are online and offline modeling agencies. Sites like Chikismo, who focus on high-end fashion and brands, but the photography is professional. The users look like models. What Supermodel Me is going to do is the images can only be uploaded through the apps, so only real people get on the site. Why do we think it's a business? Because we validated it. We actually got the idea from around 45 interviews with 16 to 25-year-olds, guys and girls who frequently take selfies and share them amongst their friends. We mocked up a Supermodel Me download app page. We sent it live, and we got a 40% download rate. We mocked up a home page, and we sent it live again. How much did we spend? $10. And we spent a couple of $100. And we got a 7% sign-up rate. We think that we have commercial opportunities and affiliate marketing leads. We've already joined the affiliate program for Levi's, Mango, French Connection. And the sponsored image advertising on the page, we think that we can make money by keeping brands up the top of the site, similar to Pinterest. The financial models, right? Here we based the financial model on a few assumptions: affiliate commission, average purchase price, click-through rates, viral coefficients, and the money we would make from sponsored ad slots. We think that within 2.5 years, we will break even, and then we get the typical hockey. So we've got 2.5 years to think about what kind of Aston Martin we're going to buy. What I'd like to thank, right, is the team, because we started off building a machine to predict the future. And this is Supermodel Me is the 5th business that we've created since Friday night, and we found it last night at 8 o'clock. So it came from the team. It was purely the creativity of the team and speaking to customers. We went out and spoke to a lot of people, and it just kind of appeared out of not nowhere, but out of these guys and all the selfie dudes out there. I've been stretched. I think every one of the team was stretched to the limit. I woke up. I'm wrecked. I think you guys are wrecked as well. And thank you for persevering. And you guys are mental but brilliant. Thank you. That's it.
I'm not a great fashion expert, as you can see, but I'm aware that the psychology of brands, particularly luxury brands, is quite sophisticated. Does anyone on your team have an understanding of how fashion brands work and how the fashion industry thinks about them, because they do spend rather a lot of money on paying real supermodels at the moment, and I'm wondering why, if they didn't have to do that, why they wouldn't have done this already.
If they didn't have to, sorry, could you ask that again? Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
The fashion industry spends a huge amount of money on creating great photography and hiring beautiful people to do its stuff. I think that's because the brands represent an aspiration for people.
Yeah.
Is there anyone on your team who actually understands the marketing in the fashion sector? Has anyone got that background?
Aneta has, you know, and
I'll just say I'm sort of in advertising side of things, and I deal with models and brands, and there is actually a huge trend towards real people and actually removing a little bit of that photoshopped look, and there's big campaigns with Dove and other brands that are actually pushing and spending a hell of a lot of money to actually get real people to recognise that real people are using things rather than just models. So there is actually quite a trend in that.
Thank you, Anita.
That helps.
What she said.
Where are you going to pull the data from for the clothes? Are you relying on the members to?
Yeah, we're relying on, you know, the notion of, you know, I'm wearing this, you know, you take a photograph, you pump, it's all user generated, so, you know, the notion here is that, you know, you take photographs yourself, plug it up there, and yeah, that's where it comes from. Does that answer your question, Matt?
It does, thanks.
Thank you.
I like the concept. Is it going to be curated, or is what degree of filtering, or?
I don't know what you mean by curated, but you know the notion of there being an algorithm in the back that keeps the content fresh at the top.
What I mean by curating, like, you know, there's sites that user-generated content just gets put up there. Anything gets put up there. Then there's sites like Fancy, for example. The Fancy, they'll curate, they'll check the image that gets uploaded and approve it, and then so it maintains the look of the site, because, you know, some of these the imagery is, you know, being very beautiful can make the site look so good.
Yeah. Well, I think there'll be a natural kind of selection process where we keep the high engaged images up the top, because we need that to make money. So there'll be a natural kind of the crap stuff gets pushed down, and you'll no doubt someone's going to take a picture of their arse and put it up there. So you know we're going to have to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. Sorry, that was entirely inappropriate, but. 2.5 minutes left. I had to fit in a swear word.
Well done, guys. If you came up with this idea between last night and today, you've done really well.
Thank you.
I love the idea that you use real people to do things like that. The models always look like they're 12 years old and airbrushed to hell. So it's nice to see normal people wearing proper clothes. So good on you.
Yeah, thank you. No.
Just like to say, I think the concept of tapping into the selfie is one that I haven't heard before in a business model sense. And I think that's fantastic, because it's an enormous trend in terms of particularly the demographic I think that you're chasing. So great idea. I think the curation of the content will be probably a critical success factor for you in terms of managing it being something that's still aspirational but still real, and getting that balance.
Yeah.
I think if we went to one of the previous slides, there's a lot of sort of rating, so you can like things and you can build up trends, and you can actually create filters for what kind of personality you are or what you're into. So there's a lot of potential to kind of really stream it to the person that is using it. So.
Thanks.
And what kind of Aston Martin are you going to get?
I think the DB7. You know, I just can't decide. Yeah, we'll see. Thank you, guys.
Next up is Team Tactopus. Come on up. Keep tweeting, people. We need to win this hashtag battle. SW Perth.
All right, my name's Jason from Team Tactopus, and this is the team. We have Matthew, Kai, Tom, and Andrew. So Tactopus is Dropbox for your address book. What I mean by that is once upon a time, John and Bob met and exchanged contact information. But Bob then changed some of that information. Now John has a problem. He no longer has up-to-date information for Bob. Bob also has a problem. He needs to let all of his contacts know about his new contact information. Tactopus solves both of these problems by allowing Bob to store his correct information with us and then syncing that information to everyone else's address book. I'm now going to hand over to Tom, who's going to explain how we validated our initial assumption, which was that everybody has this problem, and how we turned what we learned into a great business model.
Thanks, Jason. So our target market is customers that are frustrated by out-of-date, duplicate, or incorrect information. We conducted market research and determined that over 90% of respondents currently manually update their address book, and we believe that from this we can offer a better solution than the other alternatives out there through a simple 3-step process that Jason will explain to you later, using an automated address book that operates without the user, that is integrated across multiple platforms. In our break-even analysis, we determined that we need less than 3,000 people to break even, and we believe that we can achieve this in less than 4 months. So to generate revenue, we believe that we can generate the revenue through the acquisition of the customer from a free contact update, which will prompt them to sign up to a free 30-day trial. At completion of this trial, customer will be notified and opt to continue with the purchase of a $20 annual subscription. At the completion of this year, a report of the service outlining the benefits will be delivered to the customer, and the subscription automatically renewed by our service. Our rollout strategy was an initial closed system consisting of family and friends to demonstrate the value. From here, we will open up the network to grow through the user's personal network via our email feature. We believe that we are better than our competition currently because they data mine information off the internet to populate the address book, whereas we're just going to simply ask Bob. Our service is also a little bit better than the competition because we offer a free update in the initial email. We're a lot easy to use, and the annual subscription of $20 is actually shown to be preferred from our market research when compared to the monthly subscription that the competition currently offers. I'm going to hand you back to Jase.
Right, so the 3-step process. John decides he wants to manage his contact information with Tactopus and signs in with his Google account. Tactopus pulls down all of his contact information and drops him into step 2, which is a form that gives John the opportunity to confirm his own correct information. Then, at a click of a button, we send that information to all of his contacts. Bob is one of those contacts. He gets an email that contains John's up-to-date information. It contains some value for him, and it also contains an offer for him to reciprocate by clicking on a link. Clicking on a link allows Bob to fill out his correct information and then insert it directly into John's address book. All of this happens in the background. John never has to return to our website to have his address book kept up to date. So we spent a lot of time this weekend validating the technology. We had 3 developers on our team, and we looked at how we would implement this. It should be obvious, I hope, that it would be very hard, if not impossible, to build this product in a weekend. But we spent a lot of time evaluating the technology, and where we'd like to go next is performing deeper market research to validate our numbers with a significant demographic that represents our demographic more accurately. I think we surveyed 50 people this weekend. We'd like to do a much wider survey. We also want to engage the services of a professional designer because we have no design on the team. It's very technical. And we want to launch the product to a private beta for testing. So there are our details. Get in touch. We've got a placeholder website with surveys and feedback that we'd love to hear from you guys and questions.
Good job, Jason. First up, question is about the competitive environment. How about Plaxo and all those other address book sharing applications that are out there who charge different? How do you differentiate from those kind of guys?
I'll hand over to the appropriate team member.
So yeah, of course, we're aware of Plaxo and what they do, and they do it well. But we found it was too complicated for our taste, and this being able to sit in the background, 3-step process to sign up, and just the whole automation of it is a key differential from Plaxo. I should note, Plaxo is aware of us. They've followed us on Twitter as of last night, so they've been scoping out the competition. So you know, that means maybe they think that it's we're a threat, but no. Yeah, maybe we'll hear from their legal. You know, I don't know. We didn't reciprocate. We're not following them. We didn't want to get involved with that. So we think that our key message is the simplicity and the automation, which, while they do with a similar product, it's not the same. And we found personally that it was too complicated to use our product. Yeah, just ask Bob. So they do it the other way.
Once you've shown Plaxo how to do it really simply, what's to stop them implementing that algorithm process within 2 days? 54 hours, in fact.
I'm not. Did you want to answer the technical side of that? Because where it comes to the programming, I'm not sure how easy it is.
I think Plaxo is more invested in the data mining. In their space, they've got a comprehensive solution already. I don't see them thinking an alternative way to arrive at the same answer. They're much more heavily invested, whereas we spent 54 hours.
Yeah, and I guess that's also an example of us showing a company that's been around for 9 years how they should be doing things. I don't see it as being realistic that they're going to change their model based on what someone does in a startup weekend in Perth, really. So.
But they will if you fly, right? Yeah. Right, I think we're done. Thanks very much, guys.
Next up is Team Gainspiration. Gainspiration, come on up.
Wait for the rest of the guys to get here. I don't have as good as memory as the other guys, so I'm going to have to read off a piece of paper if that's okay. Okay, imagine you're a 14-year-old teenager. You're getting bullied at school and you feel isolated and alone. You search the internet to find a site full of stories and you realize there is a person out there that has been through what you have and has come out the other end just fine. Now imagine you're a middle-aged, successful entrepreneur, which there is a few here, who was bullied as a teenager. You find a site where you can post your story and help others that are going through what you did. 2 days later, you get a message from a teenager named Jake. As a result, Jake now sees there's a way through his problem, and John gets the positive feeling that he's actively helped to change a life with his experience. There is a service that does this, and it's called Gainspiration. Gainspiration is a role model network that inspires people to pursue their dreams, give role models an outlet to share their experiences, and encourages self-discovery. There is a real need for this platform. There is a real need for a platform like this in the world, with self-esteem issues increasing across all walks of life, and an increasing disconnect between people because of the internet. We feel a platform like this could truly improve people's lives. We were fortunate enough to get 60 early adopters to like our Facebook page even before we had launched our MVP. Once we launched our MVP, we asked these early adopters to check the site and tell us what they thought. So from our surveys, when we asked if there was a need for a platform like this, 100% of the people said yes. If we asked if they understood the concept of the website, 2/3 said they understood. Okay. Our target market is quite broad, but to start the ball rolling, we have decided to target the following demographics: 12 to 23-year-olds, males and females who are looking to discover themselves. Gainspiration's potential reach is hard to fathom, so we created a diagram explaining the process. So you start with one role model with a story and one seeker. This seeker, we'll call him Seeker 1, reads this story and thinks, hey, I might write a story about myself also. Now, role model 1 may find the seeker story inspirational and decides to share it. Now, role model 1 may find this, Seeker 2 is drawn to the site to read Seeker 1's story and finds Reader 1's story inspirational as well, and decides to share this story and writes their own story as well. This is where it starts to get complicated. As you can see, this is a true viral model and has a potentially high viral coefficient, which will keep the advertising costs low once we get traction, of course, and thus give us a competitive engine of growth. As for the business model, we will initially run as a for-profit. We're going to make money through corporate sponsorship, donations from inspired users, create media from their stories, for example, a yearbook, holding webinars to stand out for standout inspirators, and eventually packaging and licensing our platform to other networks like Beyond Blue. There is competition in the primary market, but they do not tackle the problems the same way. Some of the competitors are traditional forums with their own communities, lifestyle publications like That's Life and Take 5, and professional support services like Beyond Blue. No competitor is trying to tackle the problem the way Gainspiration is. I was fortunate enough to have worked with 4 amazing individuals who share my vision, and I personally think that because the initial target market is ourselves, and we have first-hand experience in issues like this, our platform has no baggage attached to it. It could be the next big thing. I believe that we have an unfair advantage. I believe this gives us an unfair advantage as well to our competition. This is a large undertaking, and our first steps are to pitch to specific sectors for development funding, for example, educations and health bodies. We also are going to invite well-known names to tell their stories and pitch to mining companies to create socially responsible case studies to post on the platform with their branding, of course. So to really boil it down, and in essence, we are trying to provide a space where inspiration happens. I'm going to go off script for a little bit. I've got 23 seconds. I just want to say a really big thank you to the 4 guys here, because without them, I don't know if you heard my initial pitch, it was just a blabbering vision, and these guys actually took it, had the same vision as myself, and we made something.
Great work, guys. It's good to see something on the social side coming up, so really well done. I guess my question is how to manage the seeding and connecting with others. Do you want to align with these particular groups, and where would you find your role models early on?
Okay, so the initial role models we were trying to target were, we basically went to forums and went, okay, in their own forum community, this cancer survivor is an absolute inspiration. There's no reason why she can't, we send her an email and basically said, you know, it's fantastic what you're doing in your community. How about telling the rest of the world your story and inspiring others to do, you know, be better, and, you know, maybe you can help someone in a similar situation. So we're going to use that platform. We also got a fantastic idea from one of the mentors about going to older footy players that really footy was their whole career, and giving them an outlet to talk about the stories about the footy in the 70s and 80s that young footy players will find inspiring themselves.
It's great to see this. You know, mentoring is a huge part of my life, and I really enjoy it, and I work with a lot of people who enjoy it too. One of the challenges we found at JFDI Asia is actually keeping the quality of mentors up and keeping the relationships authentic. By quality, I mean if you just ask people randomly, would you like to be a mentor, the kind of people who come forward are not necessarily the people that you'd want as mentors.
Sure.
The second issue is around keeping it genuine. If you have people who are kind of sponsored, you know, it becomes questionable as to what their motives really are. And I'm just wondering how you keep it real and how you keep it at quality.
Sure, and that's a fantastic question. We had, as all the mentors here know, we pivoted between mentors and role models mentors. We did that maybe 6 times. We decided to go with the role model network because we want everyday people. We want people that don't have, you know, a perfect story. We're not here to get someone that's 3 or 4, 5, that's kind of unreachable to you. We want someone that's maybe, you know, if you work in an office, maybe someone that's like 2 years ahead of you, that's just moved 1 step ahead, that can just give you a little bit of advice. It's not about setting someone up with a mentor. It's about finding similar people to yourself that have been there.
So is it about one-to-one advice, or is it about just taking a story and it's an inspiring story? Are you asking your role models to interact with the people they match with, or are you asking just for them to share a story?
It's going to be interactive. So I actually posted my own story about my time in the military. And if someone wants to ask me a question about anything I did in the military, there's a Twitter 140-character texting service that goes directly to the inbox on the actual site that allows them to ask a quick question, and I can give them a quick answer back. And if they want to continue that, well then, you know, you can, if you find me inspirational and you want me to mentor you and you find the value in that, then sure, I'll give you my Skype address or whatever. But this allows a bit of, you know, it stops people that are really inspirational being inundated with long questions. They can give short answers to short questions.
And then on the business model front, I guess the key thing is to try to get to at least break even, since we're doing some social good here. So where's the money going to come from for that, for the costs that are associated with running the site?
Okay, sure. We're fortunate to have an accountant in our team, so I'm going to bring him up to really explain this and nut it out.
Well, we went through a basic cost analysis, and because of the way we've structured the site, the costs are actually very minimal. So we're looking at around about, it worked out to be about $2,000 max for a year of running it, because there isn't a lot of intervention required to maintain the site, past what we can sort of manage ourselves. So we can pretty much run it off our own back until a break-even point.
And just quickly, in regards to the actual, once it gets traction and moves up, there's plenty of ways of modularizing and iterating to create platforms and profit avenues.
Just a quick question. I know you guys pivoted quite a few times during the weekend.
Sure.
So kudos to you to land on this. Just wondering what was actually built. Is it the websites behind you, and what type of functionality you got to? Just quick.
Okay, so it's a very basic thing at the moment. The guys worked, the coders worked day and night to get this up and running. And essentially, what we have here is we had hypotheses that we needed to test, and that's where the people would post, people would go through the site, and people would comment. So we built a very basic platform to do that. We do all the manual work at the moment, but give it 2 days and we'll have coding there.
Thank you very much. Next up, Threadster.
Just quickly, what do we have to do to turn this on? It's on.
Once it gets plugged in, it'll light up. Or should be. Is that plugged in?
Hi, we're Threadster. We're a team of 8 individuals who are passionate about connecting independent designers with fashion lovers. Cool. Hi guys, I'm Darcy, and I'm going to talk about Threadster. So first up, we set out to solve a problem. Independent fashion designers have huge barriers to selling. Distribution channels are a nightmare. So typically they either have to work out a physical channel, so things like setting up pop-up shops, getting into boutiques, that takes experience networks, or they've got to go online, set up their own store, pay a lot of money. There's huge upfront costs for them. Things as well, like production, they've got to pay for clothes, or they may have to make them themselves. And more importantly, if they're going the physical only route, they're restricted to people in their city. So we set out to solve this with a product called Threadster. So in a sentence, Threadster is an online marketplace for emerging designers to connect with fashion-conscious consumers. So it's all about bringing designers and consumers together. And we're taking a model of pre-ordering. So similar to Kickstarter, we want to remove the risk and cost of doing that. So we connect the designers with the consumers and give them the option to pre-order the goods before they're produced. We have an emphasis on consumer experience, so it should be as easy as possible for consumers to connect with the designers to buy the products. And more importantly, we're human. We want a process whereby designers come across as friendly. They're not kind of behind a barrier. And more importantly, we want to be human as well. We want to make it as easy as possible for designers to promote their tools, to sell their products. So our target audience is twofold. The first is the consumers. So we targeted exclusively fashion-conscious consumers. So people willing to pay a decent amount of money for clothes. So our initial theory was that our consumers would be 25 to 35, female, with a reasonable amount of disposable income. And to validate this, we actually went out on the street on Saturday, went to the fashion district in Perth and interviewed people. We had a great group of people talking to everyone and asking whether they'd be interested, getting them to sign up in interest. We also marketed online. We used Google Ads, Facebook, things like that to kind of promote it, see if people were interested full stop. And more importantly, our biggest thing was we built an MVP. We got it last night so that people could sign up, use our product and see what's going on. So the final bit we used was kind of we measured. We wanted to know how far outside of the startup and tech circle could we reach, because there's not a huge overlap between fashion and tech. So on Facebook, we got 60 likes and 236 clicks on our ads. On Twitter, we got 56 followers and over 100 retweets, including a few people with over 16,000 followers. We had 95 clicks through our AdWords campaign. And essentially, our market validation for consumers proved us correct. People were interested. And more importantly, they were the people we wanted. So for designers, we went for independent people who were local. We leveraged our personal networks, people we knew, and people who were accessible. So there was a fashion market down in South Perth, so we actually went down there and talked to them and said, hey designers, are you guys interested? Would you be willing to work with us? We talked to 20 designers, 6 are using it right now, so you can go to threadster.co and pre-order their work. And from that, the feedback, we refined our market. So our existing competition is spread out. We have Etsy. Etsy is kind of like a fair. It lets you sell clothes, but it's not very, there's no quality assurance. Kickstarter, crowdfunded, but not fashion specific. We have things like 76 Hudson, which they are independent designers, but they're limited to the traditional store model. And finally, Fab, which Fab is kind of an amazing online store for design-oriented items, but it's not fashion-oriented. So we wanted to build something that was curated. We could guarantee you the quality of the designers on the site were good and you're going to love their work. And because of that, you could discover similar designers who you would like. We wanted exclusivity. So designers only submit 6 items and you're only going to find them from us. And more importantly, we wanted stuff that's time limited. So clothes are only on sale for a month and kind of it's urgent. You've got to buy it and that drives our conversion rate through the roof in theory. And so kind of the one big thing is it is direct. We're not a middleman. We're connecting the designers to the consumers. So to acquire customers, our plan and what we tested was using online marketing for Facebook AdWords. We leveraged our designer networks, so referrals similar to sites like Dribble to bring in new designers, and we used a shareable nature of fashion, so Pinterest, Tumblr, things like that. We want to use them as tools to pair with the marketers, with the designers, sorry. We're not replacing them, we're complementing them. And we want to start by rolling it out to Australian designers. We want to target schools, so unis, TAFEs, bring in those new designers who don't have those networks, and targeted ad campaigns. So I'm going to skip forward. Our revenue model is a third share, no upfront cost. We're cutting out layers of thing. It's us, them, and the marketers. And we built this and it works and you can go there now.
You've got clearly 2 sets of users here. You've got fashion designers and fashion buyers. Who is really your customer?
Sorry. So ideally, we're selling the product to the designers. So we're setting, like the consumers, they can already buy clothes online. So we're setting out to make it easier for the independent designers. But at the same time, it's useless to them if we don't bring in the consumers. So long term, our goal is to sell it to designers, and they're our customers. But initially, to get that going to actually make it useful to them, we have to bring in consumers as well.
What are the biggest challenges that those designers face?
So when these designers are starting out, they're pretty bootstrapped. I've got a few friends that are doing it. They have to do things like move back home with their parents, but because of the upfront costs, they have to do all their designs, which is a lot of work on the thing, get it produced, pay for the overheads, then give them to distributors and wholesalers on consignment and hope that they sell them. And it takes a while for their money to come back. Or they can try and do pop-up shops and things themselves to be direct to market. But while they're running pop-up shops, they don't have time to make their next design and focus on producing their next runs and like things like fashion shows, other stuff. So they're very time-starved, and it's hard to get the flow for their resources and things like that.
And just to add to that, one of the big things is in terms of emerging designers, a lot of them don't have the networks. So fashion being a very network-heavy industry like most, in order to get into boutiques and that sort of stuff, it's who you know. So our intention is to make it easy for people who don't necessarily know everyone, they're just graduating, to get access to that wider market that isn't traditionally available.
Fashion often is about taking the images of the clothing. It's very important that the brand of the clothes, how it looks on a mannequin or on a model, reads on an image. How will you help the startup designers do that?
So the designers that are coming, there is a vetting process. So it's not just like you're completely raw, you've got zero resources. You've got enough to get some photos done in your first run done. And then it's curated, so you're invited by other designers or heads of departments at fashion schools. So these are our talent, these are the designers showing promise. So it's not just everyone who's fresh with no experience, there's people that are showing genuine talent, and that way, at the other end, the consumer has access to creative and unique designs that might not have been able to see the light of day because of what they need to get their business up and running.
Thanks. Awesome idea, guys. I've just flicked it off to one of the girls in our office who's a frustrated fashion designer, so maybe how many customers did you say you've got, designers?
At the moment, we've got 6 live on the site, I believe, and we've got a database about 40 that just couldn't get everything together for the MVP.
There might be 7, I think, by the morning. But the fashion community revolves a lot around, they're very strongly networked, as you mentioned, and they do have a very strong blogging community. And a lot of the bloggers are actually frustrated fashion designers themselves. Have you considered maybe developing, say, a suite of widgets or something that they can display on their websites that shows off their product and corrals their own followers to buy the product through that widget back through your site?
Yeah, definitely. So part of it is we realised that one of the best marketing tools for it is every developer's got a designer that has their range is obviously going to say, look, I've got it up here, come buy it. They'll be able to see their own plus others. So the designers themselves will be driving traffic to the site for themselves, but also probably if someone comes to the site, they may check out other items and have a look around as well. There'll be widgets for things to look. So the whole sharing process is part of that very simple user interface. So it's very strong emphasis on easy sharing of your products and getting them out there and things like that, yeah.
Again, to add to that, one of the slides I skipped through was, we want to partner early on with the thought leaders. So the people who are blogging actively involved, get their feedback, get them involved, and ultimately our aim is to build something they want to use and something they enjoy using. And so to solve that problem, I think it's one of those things where practicing and experimenting and seeing what actually works is kind of the key to long-term success for us.
And just one last question. The scope, obviously, at the moment, you have sort of clothing, you have accessories, etc. Is there a limit to the scope of this, or could you see it applying to other vertical markets?
Yeah, definitely. Then it would be quite similar to what Kickstarter's already doing, their sort of product base. We're sort of like looking to launch small businesses. So there is definitely a market for this on a broader scale already. Whether our model or their model is more efficient, if we get a lot of success and can prove and validate this further, then yeah, it makes sense that you would replicate it in other market segments.
But again, sorry to add to that as well, it's one of those things where I think the being exclusively fashion for this, like for the product or brand, is important because that's one of the key selling points to everyone. We don't want to dilute that. And
plus our team really loves that. Like you're saying that our team wants to get behind as opposed to just putting it out everywhere.
I think I'd agree. I think Kickstarter has kind of, if anything, lost its way because it's so spread.
Yeah. Good, thank you very much.
Next up is Trigz. Trigz, come on up.
Not quite that tall. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm feeling absolutely privileged to be up here because for those of you who aren't lucky enough to be up here pitching, it's a very, very good-looking judging panel here. But let me not get distracted. Triggers. So as a system administrator, I want someone to run and host my scripts. I don't have the time. I don't want to set up another machine. Ideally, I actually don't want to pay for it either. And I'm one of many systems administrators and developers that share this common problem all the time. Trigz is a solution. It's a free script running service, a secure place to run your script at any time to save you time and get more done. So how does it work? Go to triggers.com and it's as simple as loading your script or choosing from the script library that already exists. You set your run variables, you set your task schedule, and that's it. You kick back while it runs. You're probably thinking, well, hang on. You said it's probably free. We're doing this. We're going to have a lot of techos entering, hopefully running a large number of scripts and entering their scripts. But while we're doing this, we're actually creating the largest crowdsourced library of scripts that automate common tasks. We're creating an asset base that can be monetised. So the stage 2 release, after we release the free script running service, we'll have a library of scripts and recipes for commonly automated tasks that we can sell to the mass market, targeting the less technical individual and small business who need process automation. Batch, resized photo albums, running daily media monitoring, running database queries, running reports. There's all sorts of scripts that can be run. The stage 2 is a user pays model. But for the stage 1 release, we can also monetize. So the free script running service is only offered for those people who provide us their scripts and are loaded for public use. But those who want to run scripts that are private and secure, we can charge for that, or we will charge for that. The go-to-market approach, release stage 1, we'll be launching the script running service, targeting technical users. They're a fairly concentrated crowd to actually communicate with and let them know, via Hacker News, Ars Technica, tech forums, etc. We grow the crowdsourced script library, whilst that we're validating the market for the stage 2 release as well. So what's the differentiator? There are competitors for this first stage. There's Amazon Web Services that provide like hosting. You've got your own server. But none of them offer what we provide, the free script running and the ability to share other people's scripts. For stage 2, again, there's other competitors, but nothing that brings hosting and crowdsourced script libraries together. So what have we achieved? A huge amount, a lot of which can't be seen in our working prototype for that sort of technical perspective. But we've done market validation. I say we've got 80% plus system administrators and developers that would use it. From just the 5 system administrators and developers who spoke to the room, we've got 100% hit rate of people who said absolutely would use it. The small business people said, oh, I've got so many things that I'd love to automate and run, absolutely would use it. We've got a website launch page. And we have a working prototype. Sam Bishop is the ideas man behind it and the fantastic team standing before us. We've got some slides here of the working prototype for the technical crowd. Look, it's nothing jazzy and flash to show you compared to the sexy things that you've seen today, but Sam could probably talk through these, the scripts. This is the screens that you would see. If we can just flick through. These are the script running services, and if you go to the last page, this is the end goal where people can, the non-technical can go, they can find a recipe that exists, a script that's already there, they can just drop and drag, I want to move or run a batch processing and moving information from one to the other. So it's a very simple UI for the non-technical person. And look, the future as well is, if there's not the existing script there through this crowdsourcing model, that people can actually create, bespoke. So actually put out there, I want this script created for me, and it can be delivered for them at a fee. Thank you very much.
Cool, good job. 99 fashion designs to 99 scripts. I like it. My question is, so how do you deal with the security layer stuff? So a lot of sysadmin have very powerful security layers and firewalls and stuff they have to burrow through to run a script, even though I'm an accountant, so I don't know anything about scripts. But I do know that if you go cloud hosted, you're going to have to find a way to get through that for the script to run. How do you deal with that sort of issue?
Well, with the scripts that are supposed to be more secure, if they're paying for the service, you can wrap it in additional layers of security, like VPN tunneling back to their actual infrastructure. Most corporate environments where they are that secure will have that sort of thing already. So attaching to their endpoint to actually meet their level of security wouldn't really be an additional burden. It would just be step one as opposed to not happening.
But the challenge is convincing them that they should let Trigz do that, right?
Yeah, they'd have to actually believe we really do mean it first, but then again, they'd have to believe we aren't going to break everything to try us.
Right. Okay.
What sort of challenge is it to get to, developers to share their code and make it publicly available?
Making it publicly available was sort of the easy part. There's really well-spread tools now like GitHub, Gitorious, things like that, that make sharing code really easy, and it's taken off a lot in the last few years. That's actually what we base the front end on. We're actually using that as a method of storing these self-contained sets of code. So it's just built right there at the base. It's, oh, I like that script, but I want to change it a little. Copy that. There's their copy. They can play with it as they like. And then the person who saw the original, they can actually see that someone copied it, and they can check that out. And if they think that's better, they can copy it right back.
Great job, guys. SMEs often aren't that technically savvy. They don't often have full-time IT person. How do you intend on sort of communicating to them, you know, this is a script, this is how you use it, and this is how I use it in my environment? Do you sort of have, what's your way around, you know, communicating that and sort of make it work?
Being a small business as well, like I don't understand the technical side, so it was a challenging project to work on. But what I knew was that a small business, I've got lots of processes that I manually do. The entry point here can be some simple processes, so getting all of my Instagram photos and my social media tools and having them automated and go to my Dropbox to protect all of my asset base that's on social media. So actually having some of the free scripts, the templates that are pre-set up, so I start to get comfortable using it, and then I know, oh, hang on, I've got all this other stuff that I spend, you know, 10 hours on each week, or I outsource to other people. Let's just put out a tender, you know, pitch to say, look, I want to get this automated, and see who responds and delivers a script or a recipe, as we're calling them.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, great idea, guys. I think there's a lot of organisations who don't have, you know, a developer out the back, or a group of developers who don't understand the time that can be saved from well-written scripts. So I think that's a fantastic idea. Just picking up on the previous question point, what other plans do you have around, I guess, demystifying this world of developer scripts to the layman? And is there a kind of an even easier entryway in? So in terms of the types of business processes and requirements that you'd need to run scripts for, like, can you give us some example scripts beyond Instagram photos that you think would be useful?
Look, talking to quite a few people, there was a lot of custom things that they needed, but you could apply that to an industry. So an example was of a chemist running, they basically to do a manual check to find out what their Medicare rebate. So going into their, they'd run they could run a script with the SQL or whatever it is, being non-technical, so they could actually just pay for that, and it's automated, so they can get that done, you know, within minutes, as opposed to their staff's time actually querying the database to get their information they need.
I'm wondering if this is one of those situations a bit like being a doctor or being a pharmacist. You know, the actual process of handing over a set of pills to fix something is quite straightforward. You've got to count them out, you've got to make sure you give the right ones, but that's quite straightforward. The challenge is knowing which pill to prescribe for which problem. And I wonder if you've solved a problem here which is about sort of delivery of scripts, but which is quite valuable if you already know what you need. But if you don't know what you need, maybe that's a real challenge that's left hanging in the air.
Look, I think we look forward to getting to that stage where it is at that. I think it's working to make the simple process that people already do and know that they do, to get those, and just using a very simple visual. So I think the key for success for that stage 2 release is that the simple UI, so that people can identify immediately their simple processes and then later can create, I also need this too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the players. Next up is Tripendar. Tripendar, please come up.
Okay, hi everyone. We're Team Tripendar. What's on when you're there? Meet Jane. Jane had a less than average online travel planning experience on her go-to site, TripAdvisor. She booked activities that seemed to be popular and went to weather.com to suss out what to pack. She arrived on a public holiday and unnecessarily paid too much for her accommodation. She left a day before a huge food and wine festival that she could have and would have stayed for, had she known. Meet Kevin. Kevin is a travel agent in Perth. His job is to optimise Jane and everyone else's travel experience from beginning to end. But how is Kevin and other travel agents currently solving Jane's problem? Well, Kevin Googles his answers just like the rest of us, and Flight Centre told us they trawl through brochures and books. How can we empower Jane and the travel industry to have a better travel experience? This is the solution.
So this is Tripendar. Time-specific, or date-specific travel information on your destination. It's simply a matter of entering your destination and entering when and when you get there and when you intend to leave. And boom, straight up, you've got what's on when you're there, you know, a carefully curated list of what's on events and festivals and information like that. You can check out the local weather that's typical of that period of the year when you're going. It's important date-specific information like public holidays, could be particular alerts like a malaria alert, or perhaps there's a big international event that's going to congest the city for a while. And there's the ability to, if you're planning a trip, click a week previous or a week later to perhaps adjust your flight. You know, maybe there's a Jazz Street festival. If you delay your trip for just another day, you get to go to that awesome festival. And you wouldn't have known about that if you didn't use Tripendar. So the idea is that you've got a sliding scale at the top. You can shift the dates around, and when you shift those dates around, so too will the curated content in the What's On box. And the system is a mobile-first approach. It's very to the point, date-specific information. It adapts perfectly to the mobile environment, and that's what people are going to be using when they're traveling. So no one else offers date-specific info, filtered by destination, aggregated on one screen. It appears we own this space.
Okay, our target market is frequent travellers, time-poor people, and people that want to do this research online by themselves without a travel agent. We're going to reach this target market with social media and perhaps offering branded widgets on travel blogs, and perhaps partnering with someone bigger, and so maybe even TripAdvisor, because we offer a unique service. We're not against them. We're complementary to the travel planning experience. Our revenue models, firstly we'll be looking at a freemium app, so you'll be able to use the service for free. And we'll be asking users, well, frequent travellers to pitch in $10 a year, and for $10 a year, we'll remove the ads, as well as going towards a more personalised approach, and that could be showing events that only you're interested in. And we'll also offer as affiliate sales and travel agencies a customized approach for them to perhaps put their branding on our product. We'll start rolling out in Australia because we can bootstrap this on our own travel knowledge, and our ambition is 250 cities in 12 months. And what we're building is an information-rich database, and that's valuable to everyone in the travel industry. From the get-go, we're building content that is valuable to anyone. Thank you very much. That's out of time.
I'll kick off. I always have a big challenge with curated content that's self-owned. I mean, are you guys going to have teams of people looking for where all this is happening, or are you planning to source it from other places to start off with?
Our approach will be we are going to outsource getting our event data, and then we're going to get a local traveller to curate this data once it's there. So it's a two-layer approach.
Is there a way of using leading on the affiliate model, the business model, and incentivizing people to provide data in return?
It's something we haven't thought about at all, to be honest.
I mean, it's basically what's really important is the quality of the content, which is why we want to curate it. We want to definitely partner with people who can offer certain events and who can certainly contribute money. What we're very concerned about is diluting the quality of the content because it's become kind of paid content. So I'm sure there's ways that we can leverage that in terms of partnerships, but it's something we have to look at a little bit deeper.
I think I love the interface. I think it's pretty cool. I could see myself using that. But to echo Matt's point, yeah, created content, scalability, it's a tough challenge. Partnerships with Timeout, maybe, I don't know, people like that could be interesting. Also, maybe a platform for festivals or event holders to actually populate their stuff. Yeah. But you'd have to manage that too. But yeah, I like the interface, and I could see myself using it. But if I went out to Karatha, would I get something? Is it just capital cities? I suppose.
It's certainly a tourism based thing, and so it's going to work best for your tourism destinations.
Great job, guys. Just one challenge, I guess. You mentioned that it's mobile first. How do you think you can deal with the issue of people not enjoying data roaming fees when they're away on holiday and wanting to actually be able to download these events as they're traveling around the world?
I think that's a problem that will reduce less and less in the future. Personally, when I travel, I find the Wi-Fi spots, and it's not a huge issue for me, or I get a local SIM.
What relationship would you have with Eventbrite, Amiando.com, all the ticketing sites?
Yeah, I mean, it would be what we intend to do is the results that come up, you can click on it, it reveals more information, it offers a direct link to the website of the event provider.
Yeah, so I guess in a way they are competing with us. What we're providing is traveller-specific information, and we're really going towards the user interface that makes travelling, finding information relevant to your travel so important.
Cool, all done. Thanks, guys. Well done.
Cheers. Thank you.
And our penultimate team is Jamplifier. Come on up, Jamplifier.
Okay, hello. Thank you everyone for sticking around to hear Jamplifier. My name is Ben, and I am presenting as the idea creator of my music collaboration sharing tool, online music collaboration, SoundCloud meets Wikipedia. As we can see here, the world is spread out across the place. We have all these different musicians who would like to work together. The problem that I am experiencing today, and my friends are experiencing, and the music community we've spoken to are experiencing, is scheduling and convenience of meeting up to actually practice and make music. Also our limited networks. For example, I might want to play classic rock, but my friends all like hip hop. How am I going to do that? So the solution that we've developed is this opportunity for people to log in and log out of jams, to record their music online, save it there, and revisit and drop out, come back in as and when they want to. And obviously, this being online, we have as broad a network as globally feasible. What exists today in this space? One of the things we picked up early on is we want to distinguish ourselves from online jamming. It's not real time, it's me as a musician. I upload a piece of music and other members of the community respond to that piece of music with an accompaniment. This isn't being done today. The types of things that are being done today seem to be, I plug in my microphone here, you plug in your microphone over there, we rock out online and see how it sounds and work together to make a song. There are showcases, obviously, like SoundCloud, YouTube, MySpace, popular sites with a lot of users, but these are just to showcase your music. Here's a piece of music that me and my friends or I produced. It's great. Here you can listen to it. And also we have islands like Soundation, where I work in the online space to make a song. It's not a collaborative approach. Whilst these are all popular and have a market, naturally, these aren't collaboration tools. So the way that we would like to demonstrate how this works and to distinguish ourselves from what exists today is to think about this in terms of the lifetime of a song. So at the bottom of the slide here, we see that user 1 uploads his piece of music. In doing so, he notifies Twitter and Facebook. Say, for example, he's uploaded a guitar track. User number 2 then listens to that, likes it, downloads it, and decides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record an accompaniment in time, in key, in sync with user number 1's guitar piece. So now we have, say, for example, a guitarist combining with a drummer. Upon uploading their tune, user number 2 notifies Twitter and Facebook. 3 then does much the same thing. He might be a trumpet player and downloads, records, and re-uploads. Now we have a 3-part track that has been created out of pieces of music individually from anywhere in the world. Revenue stream, simple, subscription, $5 per user per month. How did we validate this idea? Well, we dug into our networks, and we also dug into the networks of our networks. We spoke to musicians, producers, technical people, and industry types. Musicians, we were down in the pubs and the bars last night asking them how it's going. They validated our idea saying, yes, we're interested, it sounds great, but naturally they would say that. We're persuasive people, and we offered them a few beers if they'd listen to us. Producers, we were able to dig into the network of our network and speak to people in LA and London. For example, a guy called Nick Knowles, who you may remember wrote Belinda Carlisle's Ooh, Heaven is a Place on Earth. He expressed an interest in this and also recommended that we look into the way of using talent to support this idea. One of the things we did then is we did a bit of a marketing drive where we spoke to bands and musicians, and we actually have a meeting next week with the drummer of the Mystery Jets who wants to understand if he, as talent, could attract people to this idea. And we have feedback from him, and this is how we're hoping that other musicians who are popular and successful today could support it. Industry types, we're speaking with people at Whammy who think that if we take the Western Australia edge with this idea, there's definitely some market in it. So obviously it's a global tool, but it can apply to Western Australia. So people in Broome can jam with people in Albany. Why not? How are we going to get some market? How are we going to get people to use this site? Talent, we want people who are in the music business to promote this, and talented people can attract other talented people and create some traction. Promo events would be great. Buy a load of beer, put up a big stage, and turn up some amps really loud with a big picture of our website at the bottom. Music press advertising is a standard means of getting this out there. Creating the community is the key, though. We need to create traction. We need people to use the website and for it to develop organically. The business model, we looked at this, and this is based on a number of assumptions, and we've actually been very, very reasonable with our assumptions. We start our first year with 100 users. Second year we have 1,000 users, and third, fourth, and fifth year we have 5,000 users. After year 2, with our assumed costs, which are pretty low, we are 60K down, but after that we're making money year after year. So the team that made this website is Mo, Nick, and Ben, me. This is the website that exists today. You can log on. Go to Jamplifiers on Twitter to find us. Go to fasterthoughts.net 8080, and if you want to, upload some tunes. We have 6 users today, and you can actually start jamming tonight. Thank you.
Cool, great stuff. This reminds me a little bit of Draw Something. You know how that massive success. The nice thing about it was the timed element, that someone could do a drawing 2 days ago and then you see it in real time. And I think the aspect of being able to jam in real time, even though the recording might have been done, you know, hours, days ago, is a really interesting feature. So good job putting that all together. And so it's actually working now. Is that what you're saying on the website?
Yes, you're correct. And the point that you make is very important, actually, to this. The concept of the website is that you can log in and log out. We don't have to meet up at the same time, and we can also record what we've done. So we can create a bit of a documented copy of some music that we're making.
And I assume multiple iterations, so people can put all kinds of stuff on there and it just gets bigger and bigger.
So once you've started recording and started collaborating with people, you move from the practice space into the studio, and each person can have their own studio where specific tracks are combining and are collaborating.
And after you bought the beer last night, did you ask the musos if they were willing to pay $5 a month?
Yeah, well, we put it to them, if we charged you $5 per month, how would you feel about that? And I think $5 per month it's a fairly nominal cost, but in order to have that bit of value, we do want to charge for it. Maybe we could just make it free, but then we'd have to make advertising money through advertising, which is unfavorable. If we could make some cash out of just subscriptions, and it's a very simple revenue model, and I'm not overcomplicating it intentionally. We don't want to go any other way initially, but I think there's great scope for expanding into interesting and sort of different ways of creating revenue out of this system as well.
I'm wondering what the sort of big problem or big addictive plus of this is, or is it one of those nice to have things?
Well, it would be nice to have. I think as a musician, I would like to use it. One of the problems that I face today is that I don't have the time to meet up with my mates to make music. I also, when I do have the time, it's hard to just get it done. This way we can log in and log out of a jam. It's convenient, and I would pay, I guess, for that convenience and that opportunity.
I was interested because I was in a thrash band when I was at school, but I'm not really a musician. You talked about your mates, playing with your mates. I wonder whether this is paying $5 a month to be with your mates, you know, that maybe you were in a band with 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you've all gone different directions. Would that maybe have more value? I'm just thinking you could get this situation where you've got thousands and thousands of fairly crap tracks that you'd have to kind of down through to listen to, and then bad versions of stuff that you're working on. Or how would you sort of make it so there's people you actually respect and enjoy and have some emotional resonance with?
So it is a good point, and curation is a full-time job, and it would change our cost structure significantly to curate the type of music that's on our website. In order to get around that, one of the things that I didn't talk about it yet, but if you look into the website as it develops, we're going to create branching so that if you collaborate with another musician today, we create a branch, and then me as the agreed owner or as a shared owner of the track, we start defining where this goes and who can collaborate with it. We can password protect and agree that only members of my studio can jam on the top of this tune. And that effort of branching came out when we started to think about commissioning music. If you're a professional guitarist and you need to make a piece of music for an ad, you can commission your accompaniments through Jamplifier.
Just going to focus on the opposite problem of what happens to the really successful music that gets created through Jamplifier, who owns it, and who gets the rights to it and reaps the rewards.
Yeah, let's hope that there will be many, many examples of this, so we better have a well thought out strategy for how to deal with this. We think user agreements, when you join the website, you have to sign a user agreement. The basic form of the user agreement will be that every collaborator has shared ownership. If you as a user want to maintain some ownership exclusively for yourself, you have that option. It's made clear to people who collaborate with you that if they do choose to collaborate with you, the initial songwriter has set down this precedent, and you have to then check a box to express your agreement to that.
Oh, I think it's pretty cool. I'm not a musician, but I like the iterative approach to creating music, and it's like a project collaboration base, but you can add to it in a real social way. So it's pretty cool.
Well, feel free to give it a try. You can try it tonight.
I'm not a
get your
musician.
guitar out.
Sounds Sounds like a great way to discover new talent too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a great way to learn. If you want to meet with people, if you aren't a musician, maybe you could pick it up and give it a shot.
Thank you.
And finally, this isn't where it stops, but this is Team YourStop. So wake up, everyone, because this is the last stop.
Good evening. I'm not really sure how I can follow such fabulous puns like that. I'll do my best. We're YourStop.co. We have a very simple premise. What we want to do is eliminate the terror of all our users, of those who've fallen asleep and missed a train or bus stop. So we're going to do that with a bunch of mobile apps. They're both going to use GPS and timetable data. And basically, as you approach your chosen destination, they'll alert you and wake you up so you don't miss your stop. Because after all, nobody wants to wake up in Armadale. Cool. As a company on the whole, though, what we are looking to do is to build a very large, international, data-rich, and sticky user base. And from this, we want to use different revenue options, be it maybe geolocation-based ads, or possibly partnering with distance transport authorities. Over the weekend, we've done heaps of customer validation, be it online, like Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, or even using like thumbs.it, where we're throwing out interesting questions like, have you ever passed out on a train? Have you got lost on a foreign train network? So surprisingly enough, we've got lots of thumbs up on this one. But what's been best has been going down to the Perth train station, going to the bus, because people liked us, people liked our app, liked the design, liked the 99-cent price, but they didn't like our premise, which I thought was odd. They said, look, this isn't just for sleeping. I get distracted by work, I get distracted by Angry Birds, I get distracted by anything. I miss my stop for all sorts of reasons. So this is why we need an alarm. Initially, actually, to be fair, the best one though was the security guard. Because he was so enthused, and I didn't know why. Boy, he said, look, mate, I clean off so many idiots off the end of the line who miss their stop. If you can get rid of them for me, you'll be my best friend forever. So because of him, initially we're going to start in Perth. We know there's 330,000 public transport journeys every day. So what we want to do is test our customer acquisition strategy right here in Perth. So that's either new school, so Facebook competitions, YouTube competitions. I'm sure we can all get a favorite photo of someone falling asleep on the train. Or old school techniques, so sort of posters, that sort of thing. What we learned though in Perth is that we want to take across to the eastern states. And then all the data we learn domestically, we want to figure out which is the best international targets of where we can take it. Over the weekend, we have put together a fantastic app, both native and working for iOS, and native and working for Android, with a common design UI and a working backend. Although the team worked together and brought many challenges, the two challenges we haven't fixed yet. First, we need to work out an effective customer acquisition strategy, and how to add value to our users after just getting off their stop. And that's just about it. But in the words of the great man himself, Steve Jobs, there is but one more thing. Still have time for questions. I'd like to take this moment to personally and publicly thank our team. We did a lot over the weekend. It was pretty fantastic, and I reckon it's pretty cool. So big round of applause. For now, we're free to open up for questions.
I'm interested in this idea that you know, shopping malls aggregate people together, don't they? And we sell stuff to them. Buses and trains bring groups of people together for a period of time, and we have certain needs where on buses like to get off at the right stop. But I wonder if there's other kind of revenue streams and valuable data that you could gather when if you could have an app that basically involves logging public transport or some social thing about people who always travel together. Did you know the guy sitting next to you always travels on this, you know, this time? Whatever. Is there something more that can be based around this as well as this? The great thing about YourStop is it's a very easy to understand proposition. I'm just wondering whether there might be a rather interesting set of business models that might evolve out of other stuff to do with that shared experience of public.
Well, you're exactly right. As the mentor Justin Dennis says, it's like a hammer. Boof. It's that simple. But the data collection is really interesting. And so I'm not sure if I understood your question correctly, but some of the interesting things we could do if you get off a bus station or train station and you know there's a W.H. Smith or a Dimmicks or whichever the best bookstop, I didn't know what kind of books you like because you read the ebook obviously on the way there. That's not going to be a bad link up for an office, you know, for promotion. Same with Starbucks and things like that. The other way on the social side is, you know, if you have mates or colleagues that do the same work, knowing whether or not you're going to be on the same carriage, also in the way same direction, would also probably be beneficial. I'm not sure if I've answered your question, but is that the sort of thing that you're thinking of?
I guess I'm thinking that whenever you bring people together, I mean, train stations are able to charge a premium for coffee shops that rent space from them because they've got huge footfall through them. What you're identifying is groups of people potentially who travel together, people who get off at the same stop, and there must be new business models that are possible around that because we haven't been able to identify groups of people who travel like that before until the last 3 or 4 years. That's a new phenomenon.
Well, you're exactly right, and that's what we're trying to tap into. We're trying to do that with the hammer of simplicity to begin with, and then once we get more resources, see where that goes. Cool.
Nice idea, guys. I think another opportunity for this application is if you're traveling in a strange city, very often you ask directions to a place and they say take tram number 12 and get off at this and this stop, and you've got no idea when you're nearing your destination or not. And you might be able to tie it in with other things that are happening in the area, so it becomes a useful tool for tourists.
Well, you're exactly right. That's a lot of the customer validation we got back. Many people say, look, okay, I've got my local transport down, or I have a car, but when I went to Spain, when I went to Italy, when I went to China, I had no idea what station it was. I just sat there watching, you know, my GPS go across. So I completely agree.
Yeah, I really like the idea, first of all, and I think there's a business model here also on the licensing front, because like that security guard, he's got employers, which is the Public Transport Authority, and they actually want this stuff sorted out too, because it's not a good experience for visitors or for the guards. So I reckon if you've got it working and you need access to timetables, and when timetables change, you don't want to be curating that. Also look at a corporate licensing model where you just say, look, here's the app, and we'll plug it into existing apps out there. I think it's a really great idea. Good stuff, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, I think following on from Matt's point, if you actually do a review in the app stores, the various app stores in Australia for the transport and travel category, I think the top performing app in Australia at the moment in that category is the New South Wales public transport app. So validation right there for a strong user base. Also, when you think about the user community for public transport, skewed slightly younger, obviously cost conscious. I think the big opportunity here, though, is the kind of big data opportunity that was mentioned earlier around collecting data of people getting on and off, much in the same way that the transport authorities are trying to do that with smart riders and the like. So you kind of have a user-generated version of Smart Rider where you then can deliver services and things. You maybe should get together with the Tripendar guys so that when you get off the bus, it recommends the right event or gig that's nearby that you should go to. But I think the point of keeping it simple at the start is a critical one, the hammer point. So well done, guys. I think it's fantastic.
Well, that about wraps it up for the team presentation. So give everyone a huge hand of applause for the great work that they've done over the weekend. Well done. Well done. I mean, you know, almost everyone in this place came in, don't know anybody else on your team. So they merged and formed teams with complete strangers and created all of this wonderful stuff. It's really fantastic. And congratulations to everyone for completing. So at this stage, I'm going to take the judges off into the judging room, and we're going to retire and make a decision about who wins the prizes. During that time, Sam Birmingham is going to entertain you. I mean, he could do that just by standing up, but he's actually got some entertainment planned for you. So if I can ask the judges to please clear the tables, because we're going to take those tables with us into the far room. Thanks.